So hello, welcome, good morning, good afternoon. If you have any question during the presentation, please talk or send it to the chat and I will take it. So what is this session about? I would like to tell few things and present few slides about the Broadcom approach towards software management using Ansible. My name is Jan Prihoda, and here at the Broadcom, I'm responsible for or one of the topic is software management and software management automation. So where to start? I think you all hear stories that during the maintenance process something went wrong, your sysprocs are overloaded, you need to cover or they need to cover so many cases, scenarios, and handle so many software that make their work difficult. And also our customers and our sysprocs internal says the same. So we decided to somehow look in deep into this topic, into this area. And in previous years, we were focusing on some kind of standardization together with other vendors. So now all of our software instances or software is distributed as a portable software instance. And also the configuration workflow should be provided for all our software. That's, I think, first step, but I don't think it's enough from the perspective of, let's say, full cycle. I mean, the software cycle from the delivery to the usage. And to be able to cover that, we were and we are still focusing on automation that is happening during the whole process. I think what I just mentioned just described that something is changing. We were previously considering all the activities around software management as something that must be driven manually or in best case semi-manually by humans and directly on the system or somehow available for the processing, but still by people. I think the things are changing. It's not only for software management, but the overall ZOS or mainframe market or technology is now more and more looking into some kind of automation, and ideally automation that is already familiar to people that are joining the platform from outer world, younger generation or distributed guys, and to make them at least better understand what they can do with the existing technologies on mainframe. So our thinking is like that. We are looking into a solution that doesn't require any specific mainframe knowledge. Of course, probably like omitting things like jobs or anything like that is not possible. However, there are tools or we believe there are tools that allows you to connect and work with the mainframe like with any other platform. So this is our number one here. There were customers, and maybe some of you would agree, the maintenance windows are not so often as you would require, especially nowadays when many software contain also open source, and as the vulnerabilities are very easily to find to the various type of scans and all these things. Quite often is needed to deploy new software, not just once or twice per year, but more often. Also, it's interesting from the product management perspective. We are really happy to see that you are using the new features, and you are able to provide us feedback as fast as possible, not after half a year when we are already working on something else. Another very important point I already touched it is automation. We really want to automate everything what's automatable, everything what's possible to automate. And the reasons are quite simple. First, it's faster. And second, it's more secure and reliable. Our solution that we are building or preparing for is built on technologies and stuff that are vendor agnostic. We understand that WorldCom is not the only software provider on the market, and we would like to offer some kind of standard or platform also to other vendors and make it really available to everyone who would like to work in such environments. It must be scalable. Of course, if you have 1-2 LPARs in your inventory, then such kind of automation the benefit of the automation is probably lower than if you have something like 200 LPARs and with different basic configuration and distributed across globe and all these things. We also looking into solution from the perspective that there will be technologies that, or there are technologies already available, but you probably need to handle them by themselves. And that's something what we learned many years ago, that even if you have such kind of in automation, you don't probably willing to spend time on maintenance and new development. You would rather get something, let's say, off the shelf and use it out of the box, still supported by some kind of vendor or at least community. We believe that there should be no prerequisites on technology per se, like you need to use this product or that product. Really, it must be vendor agnostic. And of course, ideally, the technology that will be used for this solution must be already somehow proven and reliable on different environments. By this, I mean, for example, distributed cloud and such. Okay, so it's not surprise that we landed on Ansible. I'm not sure whether they are fun, but definitely some facts about Ansible that we were considering and that why we choose this platform for our solution. Ansible is open source technology, usually accompanied by some kind of words like infrastructure as code, automation, and so on. And we don't see Ansible as competitor to mainframe automation, I mean on Z directly. It's something what we see as a next step or next level. Ansible is not able, or I don't think it's possible to react in matter of, I don't know, microseconds, milliseconds on events coming from system or happening in the system. But it's something what you can consider as an orchestrator of events or activities for Z, but of course also across multiple platforms. Ansible is very known for its flexibility. It's the basic is very easy to use. You can really install it in a couple of seconds from the repositories and use it out of the box. Also, another benefit that we are seeing very important, especially for seasoned mainframers, is that you don't need to have special coding skills. Really, Ansible uses YAML structure, and if you are editing YAML on mainframe, it could be difficult, but this is not the case here. Usually the playbooks, the YAML, are written in such tools like VS Code. And there, you basically just need to understand the usage of the keywords that are there, and you don't need to take care about complex coding and complex programming structures that you may know from more complex languages. Another point for Ansible here is that probably you have already Ansible available in your environment. Maybe you don't know it, but what we are hearing more and more from our customers, and not just from our customers, but basically from the whole mainframe community, is that companies are already using Ansible for some kind of automation for distributed platforms. They are already using. So now they are looking into a way how to utilize what's already available for them. And they wanted to make it available on mainframe. So I already touched that it's open source, but as it's owned by Red Hat, you can easily get open source. You can easily get the commercial support and use it in your enterprise environment. So what happened in last couple of years is that in March 2020, IBM introduced ZOS Core Collection that basically allows you to work on mainframe without any deep mainframe skills. You can submit the jobs, you can work with data sets, you can submit commands, of course, react on the outputs, and so on and so on. We as a Broadcom, as I mentioned, we are now quite intensively looking into Ansible and how to use it for our products. And a few years ago, we published first Ansible collections for some of our Broadcom products. The family of collections are growing, and this is also an important part of our Ansible strategy. Here is a link if you would like to learn more about Ansible history, but it's available everywhere. So if you would type Ansible history in Google, you will get interesting answers. Okay. I already touched it or mentioned it. Ansible on Z has a great potential. And now how it fits together and how it applies to mainframe, to Z. I think the current process, and please let me know either on audio or in a chat, if it's different for you. But usually you are getting software through the distributed channels, in the technology like portable software instance and PTFs to the receive order or manually if you don't use receive order yet. And you are putting it on some kind of central system. I'm calling it here as a seed system, some kind of golden image, sandboxes. You may call it differently, but in general, it's something what is in the center of the picture, and it's used for applying or installing the software, testing, maintenance, and so on before it's deployed to the target system. As I said, you can have multiple target systems, and usually our customers are saying they have plenty of them. So I should have more lines here, but as a image, it should be enough. And from the seed system, you are distributing the runtime environment only. You are not performing all the SMPE jobs here. You are not running GCLs from some clips, editing them and running them, of course. You are not modifying the configuration that should be generic to all instances and so on. You are probably doing this here, do the runtime environment deployment, and then you just somehow tweak what needs to be tweaked on the target system. Okay. Now, yeah. I have here screen showing some weird UI. In fact, this is AWX. I mentioned that AWX is, I mentioned that Ansible is open source, and AWX is something what is very important for our solution. Because Ansible itself is a just command line interface that you can use for execution of Ansible playbooks. And if you are running some kind of ad hoc automation, it's probably good enough. But for enterprise usage or basically for any bigger project, this UI, either an Ansible AWX or Ansible Automation Platform, if it's covered by Red Hat, is something what you really want to use. So whenever I use word Ansible, in fact, I mean this platform, this environment, either AWX, open source, or Ansible Automation Platform, enterprise covered by Red Hat. Here in this UI, or better say this tool, allows you to organize all the activities in a very nice way. You can here define users, you can here define teams, organizations, and using this type of activities, you can very precisely define who can do what, who is responsible for delivering playbooks, or better say the automation that should be executed, who is able to just to run the automation, run the playbooks, who is able to review the outputs, who is able to decide whether something should happen or not, who is able to manage repositories, and so on and so on. And then the rest of the capabilities are here that basically supports all these activities from the Ansible perspective. Storing credentials, creating inventories, putting there some additional scripts. You can then schedule the Ansible playbook execution. So instead of manually running it or scheduling it through some, I don't know, Jenkins, you can easily say, okay, I would like to run this playbook at 3 a.m. on Sunday, something like that, and you can rely on it. You can integrate it through REST APIs with so many additional platforms. So technically, you can connect this AWX or AAP through REST API with, for example, ServiceNow. So whenever someone would open a ticket, I lost my password, please reset it. Just approval in the ServiceNow could trigger the Ansible playbook that do all the work, return positive or negative back to the ServiceNow and password reset. So technically, you don't need to manually somehow intervene, just approve it and that's it. And many other use cases are available here. I don't want to go into details so much here. Really, what I would like to say is that Ansible for me means this whole platform, not just the CLI interface. Okay. So I already shared the screen, but now I am here, and again, AWX or Ansible Automation Platform is new on this screen. What we are considering now, and in fact not considering only, but already working on it quite actively, in fact, is that we are looking into a way how to automate all these processes. We know that some of the activities that are happening during the deployment of the new software or maintenance towards target systems are probably easily automatable, like copy data set from location A to location B, either directly or through some kind of repository. That's okay. But there one thing that is not I would say that is not easily automatable if you don't know what to do, and that's maintenance. During the discovery phase and some kind of research and discoveries with internal people and with customers as well, we realized that in the whole picture we are missing maintenance and especially whole data automation. So we deep dive and we realized some. I will be open. Some not excellent stuff. We have so many PTFs that are basically saying the same thing, but they are not saying it in the same language. So if you would like to understand what you should do, you need to read PTF by PTF, or better say whole data for each PTF one by one, and check what's there. And very often, especially if you are looking in the same product, the whole data actions are identical from the technical perspective, but sometimes not written in the same, let's say, English or in the same way. So it's basically redundant. You could probably, if there would be some mechanism how you can rely on facts that activities or actions in the whole data are same across all PTFs, you can just review it once. Especially when the maintenance for the whole product is like deploy new library and restart the product. So you probably can deploy all the libraries at once and then restart the product only once. So this is one of the findings. If you would like to implement automation by yourself, there is still a lot of places in the process and in the files, scripts, where you can do a mistake. Either unintentional like typos, or you just put there a wrong dataset name, or in worst case, wrong command because it was either wrongly written by us as a vendor, or you just missed some kind of information and run wrong command, and so on. It's also complicated to properly track what happens with the maintenance. I know about a customer that they are writing manually what they are doing in the paper books. It's crazy, I know, but on the other hand, just recently in Spain, 2 days ago, half of the country was or they were hit by blackout, and many infrastructure that we are usually relying on were down. So then I understand that paper is the last resort where you can find all the data. However, for the rest of the cases, some kind of better tracking would definitely help. So that was the one findings. And the second finding was about the complexity of some whole data actions. Of course, if the whole data says copy the library, sometimes APF authorize that library and recycle the product, That's easy. But there are whole data saying you need to go there and do that, and now and if you have this, do that, and don't do this, and blah blah blah. We all understand. And in those cases, the space for the error is even higher than in the previous case. So it is requires, and even if you are not doing any mistake, it definitely requires more manual intervention. You need to properly understand and review what is meant by the whole data text, and sometimes customize jobs and so on. And all these things basically limits the scalability and fast delivery to the target systems. In some cases, this probably is not a problem, because if you plan this ahead and the product has maintenance once per year, that's okay. But the security issues, new feature deliveries, and so on might push those things to production, or may try to push these things into production much faster and in much more agile way. That was second findings from our internal research. So we decided to create some simple application. In our case, we are using here Zoe CLI. So we developed Zoe CLI plugin, POC, that should help you to do some whole data triage. Currently, we have here 3 input streams, let's say, and 3 activities that you can do with this plugin. This plugin is still in the development. We are doing internal testing, and we are gathering internal feedback. As I said, we are also planning to use this solution for our internal purposes. So we are getting quite a lot of feedback, and we are trying to incorporate whatever makes sense also for public release. So whenever we agreed this is good to go, this will be somehow contributed to the community, either as a part of the Zoe CLI directly or downloadable plugin, maybe at the moment maintained and owned by Broadcom, but definitely the intent is to make it available to anyone who is handling whole data for any vendor. But the plugin is, of course, primarily tested on whole data coming from Broadcom. So what we can do here is check automation. So basically what it does, it checks what automation is available into PTF. Let me explain it slightly later. I will continue here. We also trying to cover the case that I already mentioned, that sometimes whole data are looking from the technical perspective the same, but from the human perspective or the language perspective, they are slightly different. So this is what we are trying to cover, and we are trying to allow you to somehow cluster whole data that we believe, at least from the technical perspective, might be clustered, and simplify the whole data triage for you. And the last, and this is currently being rebuilt, is to generate Ansible playbook. Here we are not probably going to generate playbook, but some kind of snippets. And I will explain in details why and what we are doing here. So I'm showing here compare PTF. What's here? I'm using C Auditor as a sample product, and a local file with whole data or SMP whole data dump. However, we are also having capability to point this plugin directly to the CSI, and through some kind of filtering, you can say, okay, from this CSI, I'm interested in FMID. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC. Doesn't matter. It's nonsense, and you will get this output. So what we can see here? Here we are seeing that those, I don't know, 10 PTFs contain exactly the same whole data action. SMP apply REST auditor required to install this RPAR. To be honest, I don't think this SMP apply doesn't make sense to mention it here. That's, I think, no-brainer. And REST auditor, then yes, that's something what can be written here. But let's talk about whether it's properly, let's say, worded or written in a best way. Those 20 PTFs are saying this or showing this after apply activities or actions. And first one is LLA refresh if required, and second one is restart auditor. As you can see, restart auditor and restart auditor. Same action, but written in totally two different ways. So as a human, you can easily spot what you should do here, and that's okay. But for some kind of automation, it's difficult to understand that this is exactly the same as the bullet point number 2. And here I have third example for those two PTFs that are basically saying again the same, but unfortunately written in very different way, or not very, but in different way. And as you can see, if required, if applicable, capital letters, not capital letters, restart auditor session, period here, and so on and so on. I can present much more examples where the same things are written differently, but that's not the point here. What I'm trying to say here is that we as a WorldCom now are very actively looking into way how to write all these action in a way that for humans, for you as whole data users, would immediately understand what you should do. Again, this is very simple example, and you probably, even though it's not exactly the same, you know what to do. But let's imagine that the whole data has, I don't know, 3 pages of actions with conditions, sometimes with some kind of loops, or jumping to other products, editing some additional JCLs, scripts, whatever. And then the review is much more difficult. So we are now looking into some kind of standardization across actions. So from the in the plain language, there would be the same sentence saying the same. Of course, the name of the product would be different, but restart will be all the time restart, not recycle or start and stop or whatever else. But the same activity or same action would be written in the same language. And also, we would like to somehow assign automation scripts. In our case, we are aiming on Ansible roles. Assign automation Ansible roles to all actions. Here, it was quite simple to do it by just some kind of regex matching. So we knew that LLA refresh is issue command refresh LLA, or restart auditor is technically restart started task with variable that would contain name of the started task for auditor. For those simple actions, we were able to match it through the, as I said, some kind of regex or very primitive machine learning library. But for complex actions, or where the wording was very different, even again the activity or the action was the same, this is not scalable or reliable enough. So what we are now building is something what we are now calling automation JSON. And here is the example for this first whole data. At the beginning, or probably at the final version, it will be at the end of the whole data for humans, step to perform, LLA refresh, restart auditor, will be accompanied by those eye catchers, automation, and with those hashes. And inside would be JSON. The JSON has some kind of structure that we defined, and it's not set in the stone that what is here will be the final version. But so far, we are seeing this as this. Important is here the section roles. If you are not familiar with the JSON, don't worry about the brackets or double periods, whatever else. Focus really on those, I don't know, 10 lines. Here you can see Ansible role called issue command LLA refresh. As you can see, it's same here, but unlike here, where we were using some kind of regular expression matching, this is already written in the whole data text. The CLI plugin that I showed in previous slides is capable to read this section and automatically create Ansible playbook snippets calling this role with variables. In this case, Ansible role has no variables because issuing LLA refresh command it's variableless, right? But here we have something that is with variable. So restart STC. The name of the role is restart STC, and the variables that are loaded into the Ansible role is stc name, and in my case is this one. In fact, this is something what I put there quite randomly. First, it's not the name of the started task for or default name of the started task for CA editor, and also in final version there shouldn't be a hard-coded name, but rather some kind of variable that, or that could be then replaced through the Ansible engine. Because the power of the whole solution is not in execution only those Ansible roles, but it's in effect that when you have your infrastructure described or modeled as a code. Now we are getting back to the beginning where I was very quickly talking about infrastructure as a code. It means that all these things that are somehow variable, how to say it, that is possible to write as a variable or variable value, better say, this would be written in some kind of Ansible database. So if you would run this automation on LPAR1 and for some reason the STC on this system would have different started task name, then it will take it from Ansible database and replace it with the correct started task name. So you would have here really just the variable that would be replaced. And at the end, on every LPAR, you can have different name for started task, but you have just one automation script. And STC is probably not the best case. You can better probably see this as HLQ. Let's imagine that you need to copy some kind of library to specific HAQ, and on every system or on some of the systems, for some reason, you have it differently. Now you need to somehow catch it either by creating separate scripts or manually tweaking the scripts before they are submitted or executed on the target systems. But here you can run the only one or create only one script, one automation, and on every system the HLQ will be properly replaced with the real value coming from some kind of database. So you don't need to manually tweak it, touch it. Everything what you tested on the seed system or prepared ahead is immediately applicable to the target systems. So back to the some kind of diagrams. Ansible playbooks are basically a text file. It's a YAML file, so it's human-friendly. I would say human-friendly readable, and especially in tools like VS Code, it's very easy to edit them. Of course, any other modern IDE can easily handle the stuff that are like nature to YAML files, like the indentation specifically. Those playbooks will be stored here. As I mentioned, we are not planning, at least from day one, to distribute the whole playbooks, but rather snippets that would cover the particular actions within the PTFs. When you are happy with what you are getting, you just join them or merge them together in Ansible playbooks and store them in a Git repository. Now, I was talking about roles, and I probably did a small mistake. I should mention at the beginning what Ansible role is. So let's fix it now. Ansible role is some kind of, let's say, Ansible artifact that is callable from playbook. You can consider it as some kind of subroutine or subprogram, library of actions, whatever. In our case, the roles would be like copy dataset, restart started task, execute TSO or MVS command, and more, especially depending on actions written in whole data. Currently, I think we have in our repository like, I don't know, 10, 15 in maximum Ansible roles that are somehow covering the most popular, most used use cases or whole data actions within our PTF database. So you will be combining automation snippets coming from the PTFs, creating Ansible playbooks to call Ansible roles. Those roles can be basically three types of them I see currently. First, they will be very generic. Like restart STC, there is nothing what you need to, or there is nothing what you can do more, just restart STC in plain SMP command, sorry, in plain MVS command. But if you are doing this using some kind of other tool, like, I don't know, OpsMVS in our case, but other vendor can provide another tools, and if you are using them, then either you can write your own roles, that's another option, or the vendor would provide specific Ansible role covering the same restart STC, but the content of the Ansible role inside would be different. But from the perspective of usage here, and what would be coming from the whole data, we be still the same. So it's, I think, nice. It could be used as a nice proof that the solution from the beginning is vendor agnostic. We are not putting here anything like mandatory from the any product would be mandatory, of course, except Ansible. But it's still open and available for further improvements and changes. So as I said, if you are managing started task through other applications, you can either get the roles from the vendor, or for some cases probably you can write also your own roles here. Many customers were saying us that they are not using or they are not distributing software directly from seed system to target system, but rather they are using some kind of Artifactory. And that's not a problem at all. Just instead of creating the package and sending them to the target system directly, you would store them in Artifactory. And when the packages that should be then delivered or deployed to the target systems are ready, you can just easily change the lines here in my case, and copy them from Artifactory to the target systems. So what will happen here? Ansible will trigger the copy from the Artifactory to the target system and will execute the playbooks that are stored here on target system 1 to N to cover the steps that are needed to be executed on the target systems. Because of course, some of them are enough to do on the seed system just once, but things like restart STC or APF authorization is something what you need to perform one by one on each target system. And here is the power of the automation. So very quickly, how the process looks like. The initial installation is happening on the seed system. We consider as a source of software as a USMF, but of course, SMP is still very valid. It doesn't matter whether we are doing the fresh install, upgrade, maintenance, whatever you do here is up to you. But at the end, the runtime environment is created or modified, and whole data automation scripts, in our case, the snippets are extracted. We are not, we don't want to do anything automatically from this point. In every stage, people should have a control over what is happening. So those snippets will be modified, new can be created, some of them can be skipped if there is a reason for that. And all these things are happening through the standard GitOps processes or methods. What is it? It's a term describing activities that are very well known to developers, but they are coming from distributed world. But it's applicable here very well as well. So something like code reviews, versioning, different layers of privileges. Someone can just commit but not merge. Code reviews, all these things are applicable here. So by those standards, let's say, you can rely on what will be automated is really reviewed and was proven it's safe to automatically execute. The next step is quite simple. You just deploy the runtime from the seed system to the target platforms. If you need to do some backups, you can. And it's really up to you how you are doing the backups. Nice thing is that everything what's here you can also automate through Ansible. But if you are using a different platforms, you can use it and just trigger it from Ansible. Whatever works already for you can stay. And if not, you can adopt Ansible as the driver for the deployment itself. Here we are executing the whole data actions through the automation. For example, APF authorization, add a new certificate, whatever else will happen here. And the last step basically is just about, okay, my environment is ready. I just need to recycle the started task with the new location, or do whatever else that makes sense. Maybe restart the Tomcat if you were deploying new web application into the Tomcat or Liberty. What steps are either in progress or ahead of us? We are going to validate the end-to-end solution with our partners. It's not like that we are starting from scratch, but so far we were validating bits and pieces, gathering feedbacks and trying to join it together. But in upcoming, I would rather say months, we are going to validate the end-to-end solution with our validation partners. If you would like to be part of the validation, just ping me message, find me on I don't know, LinkedIn or whatever else, and we can work on it together as well. I mentioned that we are trying to do it vendor agnostic and contribute as much as possible back to the community. That's the reason why we landed on Zoe, for example, for driver of the CLI plugin, and also the JSON that we will be using in whole data will be somehow donated to the community and ideally standardized and sooner or later adopted by other vendors. And of course, we wanted to demonstrate this on real products, on again validation calls with our partners, and later on different platforms, conferences, wherever else. And then I already mentioned it here, donate everything what makes sense to be donated back to the community. So technically, if you have running just few programs and you don't want to wait for the vendor, you can adopt those principles using just probably the CLI tool, but later who knows what exactly will be used by our customers independently. So in summary, we are heading towards to the end. Our objective is to have happy sysprocs, happy users, and make ZOS same as any other platform. How many of you noticed that your favorite web Android or Apple application in your phones were updated? Probably no one. Nowadays, it's happening under the hood, and you don't know. I understand that Mainframe is not like Android. Of course, this is not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that we are trying to simplify the maintenance, or better say the whole software management lifecycle as much as possible in boundaries of Mainframe complexity. That's our current objective and the main goal. That's all from my side. Thank you for your attention. If you would like to learn more, just as I said, send me a message. And if you would like to provide feedback for this session, please either scan the QR code or follow this link. Name of this session, I believe, is for I. So thank you for your attention and have a great day all. Bye.
Thank you, Jan. That was very enjoyable. Lots of information there, etc. Are there any questions for Jan? If you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, then obviously Jan will answer it. Right. Doesn't appear to be any questions, Jan. Obviously, lots of information there for them to digest. And obviously, this has been recorded. So if you want to go back through it again or pass it on to your colleagues, then feel free to do that once it's been posted on the GSE website. Thank you, Jan. Always a pleasure. Hope to see you. Hope to see you in person one again in November.
Likewise. Yes, likewise.
And thank you all for joining us for this new technology stream. And have a nice day.
Have a nice day all. Thank you. Bye-bye.